What you just watched was generated with one AI model, Seedance 2.5, and the method behind it doesn't only work for this specific style. You see, since Seedance 2.5 released, we can now take any anime style we want and turn it into a full-fledged anime scene. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do exactly that. We'll find some style inspiration, plan our scene, and then generate everything inside of a single convenient platform called OpenArt. I like working there for projects like this because every tool we're about to touch lives under one subscription, instead of paying for each one separately. So if you want to follow along, I'll leave a link to OpenArt and all the prompts we used in the description below. Let's get into it. A safe journey always starts with good directions. And to find these directions, we'll head to Pinterest and search for the style of anime we want to copy, and then save it. Our goal here is to save 5 frames that match our style best. But before we save anything, keep in mind, this part is far more important than it looks. Because if our 5 frames don't match each other, we'll risk creating a style that feels all mixed up. And from my experience, that mistake follows us into every generation and burns through our credits the fastest. So we'll take our time here and only save the frames that actually match the style we want. Once we've got our 5 frames, we'll drop them into Claude and ask it to describe the style it's seeing throughout all of them, without adding anything of its own. Then we'll go through it carefully, making sure it gives us the style we had in mind, but if it doesn't, we'll head back to Pinterest and swap out the frames that don't fit. Because this description is about to control every single image and clip we generate from here. Now that we've got our style locked, we need a story and a cast to live inside of it. And since our style is already sitting in this chat, everything Claude writes from here comes out matching it. So we'll ask it to write our story, but let's not settle for the first draft. We'll tweak it or ask for more options until it matches the one we had in mind. For our story, I went with a duel between 2 fighters in a forgotten alley. Then we'll ask Claude for our cast. I made my 2 fighters complete opposites. One tall black hair tied back, a long dark coat, and a single blade. The other shorter cropped silver hair, carrying 2 short swords, because they'll be moving fast and overlapping constantly, and if they look alike, we won't be able to tell who's who. But there's a silent trap here. When I received my cast outline, I made sure there wasn't a single word about personality or backstory. Every word we spend on things that never show up on screen is a word the model can't spend on the things that do. Otherwise, we're walking straight back into the problem we had with our style. So how do we feed all of this in without making that exact same mess? We'll ask Claude for a reference sheet for each of our fighters. A reference sheet is basically just our character shown from a few different angles, all in one image. Think of it as their ID card. Every shot we generate from now on gets checked against it, and that's what stops them from morphing halfway through our scene. When the prompts come back, we'll read them carefully. And if our 2 fighters share any similar features, this is the moment to fix it. Then we'll head into OpenArt, hover over Image, and select GPT Image 2. We'll paste in our first prompt, hit generate, and repeat the process for our second fighter. And as important as it is to lock in our style and characters, it's just as important to lock in the exact progression of our story, which is exactly why next we'll be building a storyboard. A storyboard is our whole scene laid out as 8 still images before anything moves. It's where we catch every mistake while it's still cheap, instead of paying video credits to find it. So we'll head back into the same chat and ask it to turn our story into 8 panels. And just like our reference sheets, we'll read what comes back, because Claude can mess up our storyline. Then we'll copy that prompt, open GPT Image 2, and paste it in. This time though, we'll also tag both of our characters' reference sheets using the @ symbol, so the model knows exactly who our fighters are before it draws a single panel. Once our panels are ready, we'll check that our story stays linear and that our fighters look identical in every single one. But since our scene needs 2 clips, we'll need 2 storyboards. And this is the one part of the workflow where being picky costs us nothing, because a still image is only a fraction of what a single video costs. Because that match decides whether our final scene feels like one continuous shot or 2 clips stitched together. Then once we're happy, we're only 1 prompt away from the part you clicked the video for. But before we spend a single video credit, we need to learn how to direct, because Seedance 2.5 doesn't just take descriptions, it takes directions. So we'll head into our Claude chat that's been carrying this whole project and tell it exactly how we want our scene to play out. Their actions, their power-ups, and the camera, second by second, from the first frame to the last, which means the timing we used to try our luck with is finally in our hands. And if we can't see the moves in our head, we'll just ask Claude to give us a few directions and pick the one that feels the most cinematic. But whichever we pick, that only covers our fighters. All that directing would be pointless if we didn't direct the world moving around them too. Fortunately, Seedance 2.5 can handle our protagonists and everything around them at the same time. So we'll ask Claude to direct our world too. I went with rain hammering the alley from the very first frame, a neon sign flickering above our fighters, and water splashing off the ground with every single step. Then we'll paste the full prompt into Seedance 2.5, tag our reference sheets and our storyboard with the @ symbol, and hit generate. Moving on to our second clip, we'll repeat the same process. And once we've got the last 2 pieces of the puzzle in our hands, all we have to do is connect them in any editing tool we are currently using. And just like that, we're holding a scene that doesn't even look like it was made with AI. But before we bring our clips together, there's one last thing worth checking, and that's our sound. Because Seedance 2.5 doesn't just hand us the picture, it generates the audio right alongside it. Mine came back exactly how I wanted it, so I kept it. But sound is the one part that lands differently for everyone. So if your clip came back with audio that doesn't hit, we're not stuck with it. And we don't need another tool to fix it. We'll head into Claude one last time and describe exactly what we want to hear. For that trembling moment when our fighters transform, I'd ask for a crisp crackle as the energy ignites, with a deep bass dropping underneath it. Then we'll add that line to our prompt and generate the clip again. Because we're directing the sound the same way we directed the camera, inside the same prompt, on the same frame. And once we've got both clips sounding the way they look, all that's left is to connect them in any editing tool we're already using. And just like that, we're holding a scene that doesn't even look like it was made with AI. So now you know how to copy any style you want and turn it into one continuous anime scene. But if you want to recreate anime fight scenes, then it's a little harder. Fortunately, I just made a video breaking down exactly how to do this. Just click the video on screen now and I'll see you there.